18. He's given time. He wants Jefferson. Climbs.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Team NBS Media and Moving the Chains. I'm Ashmir. I cannot believe it's October and it's week 5. I feel like time is going by too quickly because I'm not going to lie, I'm not a big pumpkin girly. So for me in October, it's not my favorite time. Welcome. I want to welcome our guys, Joe and Jeff, two of the best, of course. Let me get them in here. How are you guys doing? I've been gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. We've been trying to hold it down.
Getting those freaking fly miles. I'm not mad at you at all.
I heard our intro song in Vegas because BB Rexa was there, and I thought of you guys, but I didn't text you because I was in Vegas.
Can't blame you. I wouldn't have texted you either.
Well, listen, there's certainly more hair on the show when you're here because, you know, it was a very bald show when you were gone.
Talked about that. You were wearing hats every time you were gone.
That's so funny.
That is a fact.
I love that. I can't believe it's week 5. I don't know about you guys. I feel like time is going by very quickly.
Kind of. Yeah, a little bit.
It goes faster for the onlookers than it does for the players. For them, it's a grind. Right now, they're still feeling it. Come back to them about week 10, 11. They're going to be like, okay, can we get to the playoffs already?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure. Right now, I think all the fantasy people, too, are like every week they're like, oh, I got another week. And then same for them. Once you get to week 10, they're like, uh-oh, I'm running out of time. Am I going to make the playoffs?
That is so true.
Okay.
It's definitely a marathon, not a sprint.
I think the best game we can start with, of course, is Joe's team. So let's talk about that Thursday night game, Joe. How'd you feel after?
Disappointed. I thought that because we barely lost to Philadelphia, I figured, man, they're going to be so angry about that game against the Eagles. They'll come out strong. We'll start out fast. And not going to lie, it's the Bears. Hadn't won in forever. There's no way we could lose this game at home. A little voice inside me talked about how bad we usually perform the Commanders on prime games. But again, I was like, it's a new regime. We got a new owner. We got a quarterback, blah, 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 blah. Everything I was thinking was completely wrong. Super slow start, came out very, very flat. Justin Fields looking like Joe Montana and Tom Brady out there. You had DJ Moore doing his best Justin Jefferson / Randy Moss impression, just housing our defense for 3 touchdowns. Could have been possibly 4. Just for me, overall, it's disappointed in the performance from the Commanders. But congrats to the Bears. I mean, they came out, punched us in the mouth, and kept on punching.
Yeah, I was definitely expecting Commanders to take this one away just because of all the reasons you said. Chicago has not been looking that great, and I felt like it was time for a Commanders win against a team that's just down, right? Everybody's doubting Fields. His press conferences are hot and cold. Like, there's just too much going on, and then that offense just lit up.
Yeah, sometimes it takes one thing to refocus a team, right? Chicago had a lot of distractions. Think about the Chase Claypool situation, the tough loss to Denver where they were winning big. Justin Fields was having a game of his life. But what happens right before they take on Washington? Dick Butkus, NFL legend, died. And a guy that meant so much to that organization and pro football in general. All of a sudden, it becomes win-1 for the Gipper. Well, unfortunately for Washington, they were the guys that were the recipient of win-1 for the Gipper, and they went out there and played an inspired game for Dave Butkus. Give credit to the Chicago Bears for honoring their legend in the way they did by pulling off the victory, getting their first win of the season, and hopefully more to come. I would love to see Chicago have some success and get past this rut that they've been in the beginning of the season. For the past 2 games, finally their offense looks like an offense. You can look at the play calling and go, that makes sense. They still want to see more from their defense. I think their defense is still something that you have a defensive head coach. They brought in all this money on defense, and you're still not seeing the results that you thought you should be seeing. But kudos to Chicago for actually finding a way to get it done this week.
We also need to credit DJ Moore because I feel like that guy deserved a breakout game. I've been rooting for him since he was out in Carolina, and I feel like now, hopefully, Justin Fields is like, okay, I got my number one, and that will help them play better offense for the rest of the season. We've got another early morning game, London time. So when I woke up, I was like still rubbing my eyes, and I saw that Jacksonville was leading by surprise. Okay, because I've got Trevor Lawrence as my QB in fantasy, and they're still ahead. Q3 just started. I'm wondering here. I think it's going to be a tale of two halves. Personally, I think Josh Allen went into that locker room. He has like a mirror in his locker, and he's like, bro, this ain't going to happen. Like, we need to change this entire first half, erase it from my mind. I need to be a brand new guy. What is the key to success for the Bills to put this away in London?
For the Bills, just got to make sure you get some big plays on offense. I mean, I was making the joke before on the college football show before we started it that the best NFL team in England is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They play like a different level of football when they get overseas. That's why there's a reason they have a ton of games over there. I think for Buffalo, just got to make explosive plays on offense. A lot of weapons, like you talked about. Josh Allen's just got to pick who he wants to do, whether it's Davis, whether it's Diggs again, get that running game started a little bit. I think for Buffalo, just your playmakers, and they can come back and win this game. And for Jacksonville, can they pull it off again and in overseas?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so.
Yeah, it was nice of the Bills to show up in the second quarter, right? You know, the first quarter, it looked like it was a practice for Jacksonville. It was going up and down the field. They may not have finished with touchdowns on all their drives, but they moved up and down the field pretty honestly. And Buffalo's offense was non-existent. So it was nice for them to show up. However, you've already given up double-digit points, which means you need to start scoring a little more than just one touchdown. Hopefully, we can see more Josh Allen and Diggs as they finally hooked up at the end of the first half. However, I want to see if they can continue to impact Trevor Lawrence. They haven't done it so far. They've managed to control the running game of Jacksonville. Travis Etienne's a guy, though, you can control for 3 quarters. He'll break away for you in the fourth. But they have to continue to slow down that running game and definitely get the offense going. One score ain't going to get it done.
Yeah, the Jacksonville defense has definitely done their job. I mean, and I think they just need to carry that entire momentum into the second half because a win here is a crucial win since they had such a bad loss against the Texans. And that was one that they should have had in the bag. And that's a great transition because we've got 3 young QBs that have honestly done phenomenal. 2 of 3, you know, you can't be 100% in everything. So we're going to have a little chat about the young guns in their starting 4 weeks because, like I said, 2 of these guys have done a great job and one person, he's still struggling. But as a rookie should, you can't just be perfect when you come out the gates. So, Joe, let's kick it off with your guy.
Oh, man, Anthony Richardson. This is a guy that when he was drafted, there was a lot of people saying it was a reach, that the Colts had gone a different direction. I was kind of indifferent. I know he didn't have a lot of starts under his belt when he played at Florida, but from what I've seen so far, number one, guy's a really good leader. You can see the veterans in that team already kind of gravitating to him. He's kind of leading that offense. I think he's off to a really strong start. He missed that one game because of a concussion. Be my one downfall of him. This is the NFL. Everyone's 6'5", 300 pounds. Young man, you've got to get down when you run the ball. Trying to prove a point by running over people or trying to juke people is not going to have you in a long career. I mean, there's a list of quarterbacks we can talk about. There were scramblers that took that one big hit that kind of changed the trajectory of their career. So I'd say for him, get down, slide. But I mean, just a really good start to the season, becoming more comfortable in that offense. I think one of the things talked about was him not being very consistent as far as accuracy. I think he's been a pretty decent, accurate quarterback so far in this season. So if I'm a Colts fan, I'm very, very pleased with our rookie quarterback so far. He's off to a start.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Jeff, do you have any more you want to touch on Anthony Richardson, or do you want to hit your guy?
He's a guy that's progressed a lot faster than we thought. You know, in the draft, we were talking about how raw he was coming in, and, you know, it's going to take some time. Well, he's ahead of the curve, which is something that you enjoy when that happens, right? You get a guy that you're worried about. Yeah, we're going to have to deal with the ups and downs. There's been more ups and downs for Anthony Richardson. I think one of the biggest down for him was, when he got the concussion a couple of weeks ago. You want to see him take less hits, use his body. Yes, he has a big frame, but use it a little bit less in a physicality mode. Use it more to evade pass rushers that get through and make the throws down the field. So if he can do that, he's going to have a great career. I think he's off to a great start, though. Way better start than many people project.
Yeah, he's honestly my favorite, I think, just because the Colts offense needed some type of spark, and for him to be that so young, so fast, I love all of that. Number 2, the Texans. This man is doing work out here. Jeff, let us know. Why is he so successful?
Because CJ Stroud is going out there and he's shown that he is grown enough for the position. A lot of guys come in, they got to grow into being the franchise quarterback. Well, there's a reason why he was my QB1 in the draft. I said because he's the guy who has done it all already. He had to take on all the stress early at Ohio State. He had to do all of the things that you needed him to do for a Houston team, and that is one, not turn the football over. Okay, so he's done a great job of doing that. I think he broke Dak Prescott's rookie stretch where he started with the most pass attempts without an interception to start his career. So I think he's done a great job of that so far. If he continues to do that, once again, it always gets tougher as the season goes along. The more people see you, the more things happen. They're better prepared for you. So I think what you're going to see from CJ Stroud is more the continued same. Go out there, don't turn the ball over, make crucial throws when you can, keep us in games, and then win. I think he's doing a great job of doing that so far.
Yeah, honestly, I think the combination of him and Nico and Tank, like the three of them are on another level right now. You want to touch on it, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for me as a Michigan fan to give credit to an Ohio State guy, but I have to. I mean, the kid's been balling out. I think that the Texans have gotten a lot of the wins they've gotten were unexpected. A lot of people thought they were going to have a really tough season. I think that you can see the DeMarco Ryan effect already. And I like the mindset of CJ Stroud. I mean, he was talking about one of his post-game interviews, how he wants to play well so that Houston Texans fans can walk around with their Texans gear and have some pride in their team, and that he doesn't like losing. He wants to be part of a winning culture. I think when you have a guy talking like that in his first year, that's already pointing to good signs. He's also backing it up with his play on the field. So just like the Colts, I think the Texans have got their guy for years to come.
Yeah, I made a TikTok a while back, and I was saying that definitely the goal for the Texans is to win more games than last year, and they're already halfway there by week 5. So I feel like they're going to exceed that number no problem based off of the energy and the way that Nico talked about how you just explained. I was deemed the not so great of the 3, which is fine. I mean, I think, like I said, if we had 100% of the rookie QBs, that would have been unreal, just phenomenal players with great offenses. It's very obvious that Bryce Young is still struggling to figure out defensive schemes from opposing teams. And that's going to be where he can excel as a QB. His QBR is like at 24%, I believe. Or at 24. So I think that alone is not that great. And it helps to have Adam Thielen as a veteran wide receiver out there. I mean, he was eaten last week, but still, they didn't come up with the win. And it's hard for Bryce. You can see him struggling, right? You could see him kind of taking an extra second, not really sure of where he should take the play, or the defense is closing in and he's kind of struggling and scrambling, and it's going to take him a while. I feel like in a couple weeks we could circle back to this entire segment and recap how 3 of these guys are doing. But I think for 4 weeks, Bryce is watching his tape. He's probably replaying it in his sleep, and he's going to try to figure out how to be better. And I only expect the Panthers to progress in that state, but I don't think that they're going to get a ton of wins under their belt, which is obviously what teams want. But as he's excelling, I feel like that's a success for the Panthers. So
it's only been a few games, but I don't know. I'm starting to get the vibe from this guy that I just can't get over how small he is. Now, I know that Kyler Murray is not exactly 6'3", and we saw that there were some times over the course of his career so far where Kyler Murray has just been owning it on the football field. We talk about guys like Drew Brees, but I don't know. I know it's way too early to call a guy a bust. I'm not saying that. I just get a weird feeling about Bryce. potentially go. But again, also too, Carolina's a lot. I'm not naive about that. We need a strong running back, a receiver besides Thielen. I understand they have some pieces missing, but just from what I've seen for him so far, I'm kind of like on him.
Yeah, we looked at all three of these quarterbacks in the situations when they got drafted, and none of them were in ideal situations. But at least so far, when you look at it, the other two are in situations that fit their ability to win right now. I think he is the least likely situation because you had a team in Carolina that was being built a totally different way, and he's got the remnants of that. The things that they're trying to do there, we saw when he was out 1 week when he was injured, how bad it looked with Andy Dalton involved. So it's obviously the situation is just not ideal right now. But I think over time, this young team will start to put things together. They'll start to figure some things out. They'll pick it up. They'll have a little stretch where they'll win some games and everybody will be a little encouraged by it. That may not come till week 8 or 9. But so far, he's not way over his head when he's out there. He's playing. He's having some issues, but he's having some successes as well. So the rookie peaks and valleys are there. You don't always look for the wins with the rookie quarterbacks. As we've seen, it's not always the indicator. We've seen some guys who won early who fell off quickly. Mark Sanchez to be one to be exact. And then you turn around the opposite. Troy Aikman won 3 Super Bowls. He didn't get his first win until his sophomore season in the NFL. So there are guys that, because of the situation, they're not going to have immediate success. I think Bryce Young is that guy because he has a lot to learn, because this team is so young and this roster is going to be turning over every year for the next couple of years. So I think right now you just got to take the small successes with him, look at the growth, and see where he is by week 8, 9. And then come back in another 4 weeks after that and say, okay, his rookie season, his grade will be better because he showed you growth from each quarter of the season.
Yeah, and today they take on a Lions defense, which has not been kind to any quarterback, whether you're new or old. So I feel like that is going to be another tough loss for them, and it's probably going to give people that one-liner saying he's a bust, like Joe said. I just agree with everything that Jeff said. It's a very small sample size, and we've still got time.
Yeah, I said that. He's not a bust.
Yeah.
I feel weird about him. I don't know.
Who's your QB1? Would you rank Richardson above CJ or?
I still have Stroud. Yeah, I still have Stroud.
Nice. I love it. Okay, perfect. Well, let's roll into our matchups for this week. We've got, I think we should hold on to the most enticing one until the end. We've got the Bengals and the Cardinals battling today. And I feel like this is either going to be a huge win for the Bengals because Joe Burrow is the healthiest he's ever been, as he said, or it's going to be a very tight game where somehow Cincinnati wins by a field goal. So keys to success here. Let me know, Jeff.
I think the one main thing you got to worry about is, one, protecting Joe Burrow. They haven't done it yet. In order for them to be successful, they need Joe Burrow under center all season long. We've seen the struggles they've had early in the season. The one win that they did get, he was still beat up in. It starts with this running game. They've got to be more consistent running the football. It allows him to spread the ball out. It allows him to work play action and kind of slow that rush down. Until they get that part right, I think right now they are going to struggle mightily because this defense isn't exactly stopping everybody. They're having their issues as well. But it starts with this offense. They can't rely on this defense to hold them down. They got to come back out and be the prolific offense that they've been, putting pressure on other teams' offenses to keep up. They're not going to be able to do that when they can't protect them. They can't consistently run the football.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Bengals, you got to have the Joe Burrow of old. I mean, watching them has been painful. You can see that the calf is definitely limiting what he could do, whether it be pushing the ball downfield, passes we've seen him complete over and over again that are falling short of the receiver's feet. I'm sure the frustration is starting to bubble over. One thing I like about Jamar Chase, he's definitely honest. He's also known Burrow for a long time. I think that's a guy who's probably chomping at the bit to get opportunities to make big plays. Also, you got to mix in that running game too. I mean, we've been talking about this since Joe Burrow came to NFL. O-line, O-line, O-line. If they can start getting a running game or some remnants of a running game with Joe Mixon, that will help a lot. And I think for the Cardinals, I just keep on saying the same thing every week. Where'd this Josh Dobbs come from? This guy's putting up numbers. And I think if you sleep on Arizona, you're going to walk away with the loss. So I think for Cincinnati, you got to hope that Joe Burrow is actually telling the truth. He is healthy than he's been all season. Puts up some big numbers today. And if you don't have that kind of Joe Burrow today, I would not be surprised if Cincinnati loses because the Cardinals have been playing really good football.
Sorry, I muted myself. We said that in our week 2 recap that the Cardinals were explosive, and we were all like, man, we see this team, like, why are we talking about a team that we know is not going to make it to the playoffs? But that doesn't mean that throughout the regular season they can't be tough competition, and this is a prime example for the Bengals to show up. And I mean, same for the Cardinals. I think the main key to success is to stop James Conner. Like, if that guy's eaten on the running game, it's going to look ugly for the Bengals.
And they're running a scheme that works for the quarterback that they have, right? Mm-hmm. So they don't have the most talented passer, but he's a guy that can throw the football. But most importantly, he's a guy that works well off of your running game. And they don't have enough gadgets and enough gadget players to kind of help him along. So the smoke and mirrors offense that they run has done wonders for them. It's the reason why they're competitive in games. They barely lost their first 2 games of the season. They put the beats on the Dallas Cowboys. And honestly, they went toe-to-toe with the Niners, who are playing the best football in the NFL right now. So this is not a team to take lightly with the struggles that Cincinnati's having, both offensively and defensively. They better beware because this Cardinals team will knock them out if they're not ready.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a exciting game to watch for a matchup that could end up in any direction. Next up, we're going to talk about our favorite guy, the Falcons and the Texans. CJ Stroud, once again. The spread on this was surprising to me, and I think still having the Falcons as favorites just because they're the home team. I mean, I would not bet on that if I was betting. I would definitely bet on Texans 100%. I think their momentum that they're carrying is like, this is like a straight up W, like a huge scoring game as they did a couple weeks ago, like 40 to something. So talk about your boy, Jeff.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, CJ Stroud gives them the best chance to win this game. You talk about these 2 young quarterbacks, Desmond Ridder and CJ Stroud. Stroud is playing way better football right now. But part of that isn't all on Desmond Ridder. I know people are ripping him right now, talking about he's not ready for the NFL. He doesn't have the talent. He has the talent. The problem is what they're doing in Atlanta. And I think what you look at it, how they're doing things in Houston with CJ Stroud fits CJ Stroud. How they're doing things in Atlanta doesn't fit Desmond Ridder. They take advantage of his athleticism. Yes, they do. They run the ball to try and protect him. Yes, they do. But however, they don't utilize all the weapons. How many creative matchups do we use for a matchup nightmare for Kyle Pitts? They don't do that enough. They have Drake London, who they don't move around the formation enough. You know, and we see them doing it with the running back, Robinson, right? Bijan Robinson gets moved all over the place. He gets the ball in different ways. So I think what he's got to do is Arthur Smith has got to look at his offense and say, I have a matchup problem at wide receiver. I have a matchup problem at tight end. I have a matchup problem at running back, and I'm not doing enough to get these 3 guys the ball. So that's going to help my quarterback by creating those matchups, because then your quarterback looks like an amazing guy when he's throwing these matchup nightmares. Get back to understanding what you have, utilizing what you have, and it will show your quarterback is a better player than what you're seeing.
Yeah, we talked about quarterbacks needing more than just a few games to evaluate them, and I think this is the same case with Desmond Ridder. I just think there's way too much talent on Atlanta's offense for you to say it's all on him. I want to see what the coaching staff can do first to create situations where he can get the ball to playmakers. Like Jeff just said, I mean, really think about it. Atlanta has a really good young core When you have the highest drafted tight end in the history of the NFL, you got a 6'4" monster out there, a wide receiver. I like to call a Mike Evans Jr. maybe. You have the highest draft running back this past year's class, and those guys don't get the ball enough. Why is that? I mean, you have to look at the person that's making the calls on offense. If you're making the correct calls and your offense is dynamic, and then we see that Desmond Ridder can't get it done, that's a different story. Then we can say, hey, we need to start taking a look at quarterback. But I mean, having watched him play a lot in college, I'm definitely not going to say that he's the second coming of Tom Brady, but this kid's not a bum by any stretch of the imagination either. So I think as an offensive coordinator, you got to start making some better calls and using the talent you have on offense to create mismatches, and then we can get a good evaluation on Ridder. But this is going to be a fun game. I still think Houston wins. I'm with Ashmere. I think the Texans are riding high. I think they take this show on the road and they get it.
Nice. Perfect. I think we all unanimously are huge Texans fans right now.
I wouldn't say fan, but I'm a fan of how they're playing right now.
Okay. You don't have to root. You don't have to wear the jersey, Jeff. You could just support the squad football.
Yeah, me and fan in the same sentence. It's like a little friction there. But listen, I'm gonna pull for them in this one. I do think they're gonna win this game because they're doing things the right way. That's the one problem I have with Atlanta right now. They're not. So
yeah, I agree 100%. I think this is the most anticipated game of the entire day, and it's because we've got two of the best defenses taking off in Santa Clara, however you want to phrase it. I am surprised, excited, confused. I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of emotions here because there are so many things that could go right and there are so many things that could go wrong for the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't speak on that for the 49ers because they probably put that Super Bowl logo in the locker room. Like they're tapping it Friday Night Lights style, ready to go. And I don't think that they're going to let Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and, the entire Dallas defense stop them from that mission. I feel like it's a Niners win, not by a high margin. I think this will still be a tough matchup. And I want to hear your defensive breakdowns, Joe or Jeff, whoever would like to go first, and how you think this is going to go down.
I think for the 49ers defense, we got to shut down the running game. You cannot let Tony Pollard have a big game. I think you put the game on the shoulders of Dak Prescott. I think that the 49ers at the linebacker position and in the secondary can hold their own against the CeeDee Lambs. You're starting to see Michael Gallup look like the Michael Gallup of old before the ACL injury. But I think for the 49ers, the two things on defense that are key, obviously number one is the pass rush. I tell everybody who listen that these have been preseason games, in my opinion, for Bosa. And his first regular season game is tonight. And then I think also you got to shut down the running game. So if you can pass rush, make Dak uncomfortable, get him off the spot, as the kids like to say, and also let them not have a running game, I think that bodes well for San Fran to get a win in this one.
I think San Fran has to take advantage of matchups, right? Offensively, Kittle's a matchup that's tough to stop. I think he can have success against Dallas. But the most important matchup is no Trayvon Diggs, right? While Deron Bland is playing well, Brandon Ayuk is playing well as well. So, yes, you're going to have Debo matched up on one side, but Brandon Ayuk's got to take advantage of that matchup, knowing that that's not Trayvon Diggs out there. Make Deron Bland work. Make him go out there and compete on every snap. And what that's going to do is going to open things up for McCaffrey because they can't. Dallas is a light front, right? They like to play a lot of nickel, like to play a lot of light boxes. So you're going to have some success at times in the running game versus them. They may control McCaffrey at times. Being that Purdy is a more pocket passer, traditional passer, that fits more what Dallas likes to go up against. When they go up against the mobile guys, they struggle a bit in the running game because they have to worry about the quarterback running off that zone read type deal. So this game defensively fits both schemes, right? Dallas is not exactly the team that stretches the field very much. They tend to play that controlled offense that we've seen so far under Mike McCarthy as opposed to what they had under Kellen Moore, where San Francisco took away the deep ball and made Kellen Moore work short. It made him get impatient. They're a lot more patient under Mike McCarthy. They're going to do that. But the problem is, can they make big enough plays to get San Francisco to back off? That's the big question. If that can happen, then this game goes up in points. Both teams are going to have to score a lot more. But if it doesn't, it's going to look like that playoff game last year where it was 18-12 at one point. So that's where the key is who's going to make the bigger plays and force the other to keep up.
Yeah, and I like what Greg mentioned because Brock Purdy is still learning, okay? This kid is on his second year and, of course, went to the NFC Championship. But this Micah Parsons, that's why I was confused and excited and whatever. I don't want to see a Brock injury, but I know that just like we were talking about Bosa, Micah Parsons has Brock Purdy's face printed on his locker for the week, right? And he is not going to let this go lightly. And I think that is the key for the Dallas Cowboys, right? Is to really depend on the energy that him and the rest of that defense bring when they're attacking Brock Purdy, when they're covering Ayuk in the long ball pass attempts. There's just a lot of things that could go right for the Niners, and I think that his energy is really what will help the Dallas offense, keep winning. So I'm excited. I think tonight's gonna be fun. There was a bunch of Cowboys fans out here in the city. It was Fleet Week, and there was Cowboys fans talking to Niners fans, and it was just like the rivalry has begun. San Francisco has been having such phenomenal weather too, so this weekend was like everybody is on a high of life. Should we hit a rapid fire, or what would you like to do?
Yeah, I'm down for picks.
Yeah, let's go to picks.
All right, rapid fire. I didn't have the schedule up. Do we think the Jags are away?
I need to go back and take a look at all our picks and see what the records are going into so far. Like go back to the first show and see what our records are. I'm interested to see.
Well, week one we were not very good.
No, not at all.
All right, do we think the Jags put this one away?
Man, that's a good question. I mean, we haven't seen the score since halftime, right? It's still 11-7.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just gonna be tough. I want to say.
I say Josh Allen pulls it out.
I want to say the same thing, but who says Jacksonville is going to get another score? That's the part about it. Right now I'm gonna say Jacksonville holds on. Whether it's another field goal, whether it's 2 field goals, I think they hold on by the skin of their teeth in this one. This is not looking like we're going to see a couple of late touchdowns from Josh Allen. This is looking like you may get one more from him, maybe a field goal and a touchdown. But Jacksonville, I see ETN making some plays. They're just not finishing drives right now. Otherwise, they would have more points. So I'm going to say Jacksonville holds on.
I would like a Trevor Lawrence touchdown.
I wonder why.
All right, Saints and Patriots.
Saints.
Boo Boo Bowl, I think.
Man, I want to say Saints. They're just not putting up the big plays. I'm going to go Patriots on this one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Derek Carr is just the same old guy. And nobody believed me when he was on the Raiders, and I'm going to keep tooting that horn until the end of time.
Yeah, I can't blame Carr too much because they weren't scoring no matter what quarterback they had last year, and they seem to have carried that over. So whatever that coaching staff is doing with that offense, they need to scrap it and come up with another plan.
I don't know, man. If your wide receiver one is getting like 1 to 3 targets, like Olave was invisible last game. That doesn't even make sense to me.
That's the scheme. That's the way they're doing it. And they got Thomas back too. And
right.
Both of those guys are not putting up any numbers. That's just how it was last year. It's maddening to watch the Saints offense, seeing the talent, and it can't throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field consistently. It's bad. It's bad.
Sounds like Atlanta.
All right, Titans, Colts.
Oh,
give me the
Colts.
Colts.
My guy, Anthony Richardson, Colts.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with how the Titans have been playing. They squeaked out a win last week, but I'm going to go with the Colts. The Colts are playing better football overall.
Okay, I'm going to drop a quick question. You think they trade Derrick Henry?
Anything's possible when you have a new GM. Anything's possible. I don't know if he's going to do it with this head coach there, though, because this head coach already lost his wide receiver last year. And he said, don't handicap me by losing both my wide receiver and running back. You brought in the
DeAndre Hopkins.
To help out with that. I don't think you're going to get rid of him this season. I think if it happens after the season.
This question was not in the show pre-notes. I was not prepared.
I know. I
classic Ashmere. This is classic Ashmere. The spirit moves her. Man, that's major. I don't know about that one. He is.
I had this talk with my friends, and they said if the Titans are not continuously putting up wins, this could be a possibility. All right, Ravens Steelers.
Oh, give me the Ravens.
Ravens. Lamar's my fantasy quarterback.
Unanimous. Love it. Panthers Lions. I think we touched Lions, of course.
Yeah, Lions.
I think we're all unanimous Lions.
And then our Texans, Falcons, we've got them. Giants and Dolphins. Oh, God, I don't know. In Miami, I think this is another unanimous.
This could get ugly. 70 points again.
South Beach in the house.
All right, Bengals, Cardinals, we got that. Eagles and Rams.
Oh, I'm going Eagles.
As much as it pains me to say it. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Oh, my God. Every time you say it, we should have a tally. Jets and Broncos. Oh, God, I really hate that.
Ooh.
This one's going to get personal.
I think it could be the Jets.
Between the coaches and Aaron isn't playing, so he's not there to defend his coach. So, but yeah, this is going to get personal. We know the comments that Sean Payton made about last year and the coaching that he thought was there last year. And of course, that's the offensive coordinator for the Jets, right? So he took that personally. This is going to be a personal matchup. Neither one of these guys want to have egg on their face. So I'm inclined to lean with don't want to say it, the Jets.
Yeah, me too.
They're playing.
All
they're
around.
not playing horrible. They're just not beating the better teams. So, I'm going to incline to stay the Jets.
All right, Chiefs, Vikings.
Oh, Chiefs, come on.
Unanimous once again.
Kurt's not my cousin.
Wait, you guys didn't pick your picks. You picked the Niners to win today?
I did.
He did. I did not. I haven't picked that game yet, and I'm going to say Dallas.
Okay. I'm going to go Niners. And then Monday night, we've got the best matchup, the Packers and the Raiders.
Jordan Love gets it right.
Yeah, it's Packers all day. It's going to be green in that Vegas stadium.
Although Jimmy G does seem to own Lambeau when he's been there. That was with the Niners. That's not with the Raiders. I'm going to take the Packers.
All right, before we wrap up, we are going to add one of our Bears coverage people from Team NBS Media, Christy Love. How are you?
Hey, how?
Good. We're doing good.
Can you hear me?
Yes. We probably get you on this week, Christy. We promise.
Yes. Okay, so the Bears just played Thursday night. I am excited that we got the win. I honestly had us losing that game. It was going to be a close one, but I had us losing. The Chicago Bears, the season has just been the complete opposite of what everybody thought it was going to be. Right now, we're currently 1-4, but we have not been playing well on both sides of the ball. Outside of these past two games, we had no passing regime at all. Defense just fell apart. Plus, we're injured. Plus, we got drama all in the facility. It's just a lot. But come this past Thursday, we played great. DJ Moore had the best game of his career. He had 3 touchdowns. He had 230 yards. And then last week against the Broncos, Justin Field had the best game of his career. He had over 300 yards, well over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. So hopefully with this mini bye we have, we can get healthy, of course. We can get more practice in, and this momentum can carry on to our next 4 games because we got the Vikings, we got the Chargers, we got the Raiders, and then we got New Orleans. And if we can keep this momentum up, we can possibly win 3 out of the 4. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, before I toss to them, you think that the Bears can beat the Vikings next Sunday?
Absolutely. The Vikings, they're not that good this season. Sorry, Steve. But defensively, I feel like they fell apart. I think we can beat them. Yes.
Jeff, you want to touch on the Bears?
Yeah,
Sorry,
think,
y'all.
that's all right. I think the Bears benefited from a little extra motivation last week. Christy, you agree?
Yes.
I think a Dick Butkus at the time it happened.
Oh yeah.
Literally is extra motivation. It's that little Brian Piccolo effect. Is if we're gonna stay on the Chicago theme.
Right.
Devastating loss for the Commanders, but I got to give Chicago their credit. Like I said, at the beginning of the show, they showed up and they showed out. I definitely want to see Justin Fields succeed. I mean, maybe it's a new thing. Maybe we're starting to show that the rumors about Ohio State quarterbacks not being good in the NFL aren't true. I mean, you got Justin Fields doing what he's doing, CJ Stroud. Maybe these guys are trying to change the narrative. I think for the Bears, the two biggest thing is you got healthy, and then also such a huge roster turnover. I mean, the Bears are like the Colorado Buffaloes of the NFL. All brand new players in the team. You can't just bring 50 guys or 40 guys into your squad and think that week one we're all going to be kumbaya and know which a person's thinking. It's going to take time. So I think Bears fans got to be patient. When you get to like week 8, week 10, that's when you're really going to get to find out what this team is all about, because hopefully you're healthier then, and then you've had a couple of weeks to play with each other, because they brought a lot of new players in this season.
They did.
So I'm not totally surprised about the start, but I'm kind of surprised by the reaction of some of the fans. I know it's been a long time since the Bears have been relevant, but I think the moves they've made are a move to make them to be more in a positive direction. And Justin Fields is showing he's more than capable of being a legit QB1.
Well, I agree with you, Joe. At the same time, I feel like we could have been a little bit more better. Our coaching is just very bad. Like, they don't know what they're doing. So I feel like that plays a huge part in why we are as horrible as we are. I don't know how many times Lou Gessie can draw up these short passes and expect different results every time. I don't know. So, but I agree, but we'll see.
I think dependent on how the Vikings do today, I know they're not going to win, but I think that will sway my decision as to how they'll be against the Bears, because the Bears have their own energy that they're trying to create within the team. As everybody has said, it's brand new. But I also think that Kirk Cousins be showing out in the like once it gets to week 8, 9, that guy's it's like a rejuvenated Kirk Cousins. I don't know what happens in the beginning. He's like a sleepy bear in hibernation, and then he figures out, like, wait, I actually want to make it to the playoffs. Like, let's get this together. Let's wrap it up. I have the best wide receiver right now. Justin Jefferson and him are not getting, they're doing well, but they're not winning games. And I feel like against the Bears defense that's struggling, they might figure it out. So I might have to say the Vikings. But I'm going to see how today goes, and then we could circle back on our preview show next week.
I got a question for Christy.
What's up?
Looking at the first few games so far this season for Chicago, going into this offseason, what do you think you want to see to make the biggest improvement? Offensive line, playmakers that go around fields, or on the defensive side of the ball where they really struggle?
I'm going to honestly say the offensive line, because the offensive line hasn't really improved, even though we drafted Darnell Wright. Our offensive line just can't hold. Like they can't block longer than 3 seconds, like I stated before. If Fields is going to go out here and try to throw the ball and try to get over 4,000 yards in a season, the offensive line has to help step up to make him be great. So I feel like the offensive line is where it needs to be.
I'd agree with that. Their O-line's pretty bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of struggling O-lines.
Yeah, they're not the only ones for sure.
Yeah, like Cincinnati, but yeah.
Oof, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us, Christy. Next week, when we talk about the Bears and the Vikings, you could pop in again and let us know your predictions.
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in to Moving the Chains this Sunday. I hope you all have a great week 5, win your fantasy games, and we will see you guys next week.